The Green Party's co-leader sounds the alarm. Labour's pursuit of growth risks environmental catastrophe. The Green Party is vehemently criticizing the Labour government's prioritization of economic growth over environmental protection, warning of potentially catastrophic consequences for the planet. Co-leader Adrian Ramsay has labeled the government's approach extremely dangerous, citing a series of policy decisions that he argues actively undermine the UK's commitment to net zero emissions by 2050. Ramsay's concerns stem from a pattern of decisions that appear to prioritize short-term economic gains over long-term environmental sustainability. Recent approvals for airport expansion directly contradict the urgency of climate action. Further fueling his alarm is Labour's proposed alteration of planning regulations, which Ramsay contends will weaken environmental safeguards and effectively deprioritize nature conservation. The government's rhetoric, Ramsay argues, reveals a concerning disregard for environmental protection. He points to repeated ministerial disparagement of protected species like bats and newts, coupled with ridicule of measures designed to safeguard fish populations. These actions, he suggests, reflect a broader attitude that undervalues the intrinsic worth of the natural world. The situation is further exacerbated by Chancellor Rachel Reeves's suggestion that economic growth should take precedence over the legally binding net zero target. This statement, according to Ramsay, signals a willingness to compromise on environmental commitments in pursuit of economic objectives. The potential diversion of funds from the National Wealth Fund, initially intended for green projects, towards defense spending further reinforces this troubling trend. Ramsay highlights the inherent conflict between the government's pursuit of economic growth and its stated environmental goals. He criticizes Labour for seemingly castigating communities actively engaged in protecting their local environments. These communities, he argues, are often caught in the crosshairs of a planning system that, rather than offering protection, is now being stripped of its safeguards by the very government tasked with its oversight. Ramsay's parliamentary tenure has been marked by significant friction with Energy Secretary Miliband. Miliband's accusations that Ramsay opposes renewable infrastructure have led to Ramsay being labelled the UK's nimby-in-chief, a label stemming from Ramsay's initial call for a pause on the construction of a 520-pylon electricity line traversing his constituency. While Ramsay insists he is merely advocating for his constituents who desire the exploration of alternative solutions before construction commences, Miliband counters that such alternatives are prohibitively slow and expensive, potentially hindering the government's ambition to decarbonize the grid by 2030. Ramsay remains steadfast in his opposition, directly challenging Miliband's approach. He argues that allowing major airport expansion to proceed undermines the entirety of the government's national strategy on climate change. He further criticizes the government's active opposition to the nature restoration agenda, emphasizing the fallacy of positioning economic success and environmental protection as mutually exclusive goals. The Green Party's concerns have resonated with prominent environmental campaigners. George Monbiot, for instance, has voiced the growing sentiment that Labour's environmental policies may even surpass those of the Conservative government in their detrimental impact on the environment. This assertion underscores the gravity of the situation and the urgent need for a fundamental shift in the government's approach to environmental protection. The clash between Labour's economic ambitions and its environmental commitments underscores a critical juncture for the UK. Ramsay's unwavering stance highlights the urgent need for a balanced approach, one that acknowledges the inextricable link between economic prosperity and environmental sustainability. Failing to address this imbalance, he warns, risks not only ecological damage, but also jeopardizes the long-term economic well-being of the nation. The coming years will be crucial in determining whether the UK can reconcile these competing priorities and forge a path towards a truly sustainable future. The continued scrutiny of the Green Party and other environmental advocates will be essential in holding the government accountable to its environmental commitments. The question remains, will Labour's pursuit of growth ultimately overshadow its commitment to a greener future, leaving behind a legacy of environmental degradation? The answer, Ramsay argues, is already becoming painfully clear.